Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 92 of the Gaming Duo.
Hold on.
What the fuck?
Are you? Is it your turn? Is it your week to record, or your week to start the podcast?
Yeah, you did it last week.
Did I?
Yeah.
Hell yeah! Let's go.
Oh my goodness. All right, guys. Well, we are the Gaming Duo podcast. I'm not your host this week. It's Kelvin Rolone. I'm your maybe host, Robert Garcia.
I had no idea.
We are the podcast that brings you the latest gaming news of the week, and just gonna have some good conversations with you guys. Kelv, before we jump into talking about anything gaming news related, tell me about your week. Any new events? Talk to me.
Well, nothing in particular, nothing that the viewers care about, but as far as my life goes right now, I'm just kind of like on this like weird mindset of just like how I have another child, obviously, if you guys don't know, and I'm just really just like no sleep, nothing, just kind of like going through the motions of like existing, you know what I mean?
Just there.
I'm just there, you know. I'm just like cradling this baby, this beautiful baby, and feeding her and changing the diaper and putting her to sleep and then doing it all over again. It sounds terrible, but it's fun, it's great, it's nice. It's hard to like really keep your sanity sometimes. You're just like, oh my god, like this is so hard. But I love her to death.
Fatherhood, ladies and gentlemen.
Fatherhood in a nutshell, yes.
There you are. Well, I know as far as games go, we started up a game last night, a game that we haven't played in a super long time.
Yeah.
And it was like a homecoming to us. It was like welcome home. We started out playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Not Modern Warfare, Warzone. We jumped back in. We dropped, and it was fun, dude. I had a blast.
I don't know what happened in the midst of us like not playing and then just kind of starting up yesterday, but they changed a lot of the stuff that we had issues with. Again, they kind of had this new map that we just weren't feeling, but I think a lot of the issues were they had older weapons that we weren't able at the time to use our Modern Warfare weapons, right? So I think that was a lot of the issues. They were trying to make us push on the Vanguard weapons, which we obviously didn't want to use, but that kind of fixed that's pretty much fixed, I feel like, right?
Yeah, I think so too. I think they fixed a lot of stuff, and they know what's coming. So it was just weird. I kind of felt bad because I'm like, if I would have known they made this many updates, I would have jumped in way earlier.
Dude,
right?
the reason why we started is because I'm on Twitter and I'm seeing all these great posts and I'm thinking, I'm thinking, oh, these people have they have access to Warzone 2. So I'm like, oh, this looks great. Like Warzone 2 looks really good. And then I'm like, wait, is this Warzone? Like, is this
what it actually looks like? Yeah.
Let's hop in, man. We're like, where we're dropping. Like,
there we go. I didn't know there was planes. So one funny story is, I find a plane, and I'm like, I didn't know you could fly planes. So we jump into the plane. Kelvin's like goes behind me, and we're flying, and first off, we're gonna like vomit everywhere, just like the way like the.
Dude, I don't know if it was you or if it was just the camera, but you were going absolutely bonkers, just flying, swirling around, doing 360s in the air and shit. And I'm like, I can't see anything. I'm going to vomit if you don't like stop.
Literally spinning around, like going low, dropping low. And then at one point, Kelvin's like, hey man, you're kind of low right now. You're kind of low. And I'm like, don't worry about it. It's fine. And I just immediately just crashed into a tree and we died. We were like pretty late in the game too.
We were doing good too. That's what really got me upset. Like I was like, at least, and for me, good is like getting 4 or 5 kills, like, you know, in one straight match. And I'm like, all right, we're getting there. Like we're almost done with the match. We're doing pretty decent. Rob, you're a little low to the ground here. Why don't you raise it up a little bit, because you might get hit by one of those trees. And sure enough, the minute I said that, you just crashed into a tree. I died. My body just completely torn to pieces. It was just massacre. Complete massacre.
Well, if you guys want to see funny moments like that, me and Kelvin are playing with the idea of doing some Warzone live stream for you guys. I think it'd be really fun, and you can actually see us fucking calling each other out and cursing each other out and see like the real gaming duo, I guess.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
So, but enough about Modern Warfare and Battle Royales. Let's jump into news. We got 3 news pieces today. We have Phil Spencer. He's hiding something. We don't know what he's hiding. The Persona games are coming out to a bunch of consoles, and Google is doing cloud gaming, but in a different form. But let's jump into the first piece of news, which is, what is Phil Spencer hiding? There was a image here posted by Phil, and it's to celebrate Fallout's 25th anniversary. Twitter saw that there was a weird looking white box on his shelf, and it's a box we haven't really seen before, so that was kind of interesting. Xbox Twitter, they quickly said, like, now what did we say about putting old prototypes on the shelf, boss? So I guess that's a thing that Phil Spencer does, is he puts old prototypes of consoles on that shelf, like, secretly. So let's pull up the tweet here, Kelv, if we can. Yep. And there it is right there. If you can see, there's just a little white box.
Hard to see in this image here, but it's right below the sword. Right below the sword, or right where the image is. Like, there's like a little picture on the shelf there on the first top shelf.
And it kind of looks like a little tiny CD drive or something like that. It almost looks like a very tiny Xbox Series S. I'm going to go ahead and let you tell me what you think it is.
This, I mean, looking at first glance, it does look like an Xbox Series S. You're like, oh, whatever, like, no biggie. But if you really do look closely, it is much smaller than a Series S. And yes, the look of it is a little different as well, right? I think what this is, and I think what Phil Spencer is hinting at, I don't think he's hiding anything really. I think he's blatantly just showing us this. Like he's not stupid. He knows what he's doing. He's posting this to kind of like stir up the pot, right? And so he posts this image, and here we have this white box that, to me, it looks like the Xbox Cloud gaming console that we've talked about numerous times already, right?
Right.
And so, you know, before we thought this was going to be like a dongle type of sort, like some sort of dongle, right? But if this serves correctly, this seems like it's going to be kind of like a miniature Series S like console, which looks kind of cute in my opinion, right?
I thought, honestly, this thing was a Xbox Blu-ray player add-on. You attach it to your Series Series S. I'm just kidding. That's not what the fuck it is. It's definitely.
You thought they were going to bring back that HD DVD.
That's so stupid. If that was it. No, this is 100%. You nailed it on the head, right? It is that thing. It is a prototype for that cloud gaming console, kind of like a baby Series S in a sense.
Yeah, I kind of like it. I kind of dig it. I thought it was going to be much smaller. Again, I think everyone assumed it would be like a dongle of some sort. You would just plug it into like your TV or something, and then boom, you have like Xbox Game Pass, right? But if they're going this route, a little bit bigger, fine. I'm not like hating on it, but I think some people would be like, oh, I kind of wish it would just be a little bit smaller, but it looks great. I think it looks cool, and I think this is exactly what they're kind of going for, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And especially, too, like, cloud gaming is so great. I think out of all of them, Xbox Game Cloud is the best out of all of them, right? I mean, Stadia is gone. You have Luna. You have, what's the Steam one called? Not Steam, GeForce. GeForce Now or something like that. Something like that. So you have all of these, but clearly Xbox. And again, I have it on my Steam Deck, and it works pretty flawlessly. I mean, here and there you got a little bit of lag and a little bit of issues, but it's there. The technology's there, and it's playable. And this is something that'd be great, because if this thing's like $100, maybe less, and you could just pop it up into any room and you're able to play like any game right out the jump, like that's pretty awesome. Kind of like a Fire Stick, right?
Right. Yep. And I think, I mean, again, Phil isn't dumb. Like he posted this tweet, you know, celebrating Fallout's 25th anniversary, but also knowing that there's going to be a lot of people, you know, looking at this and seeing this, and that kind of stirs up the pot as well, and it just kind of brings people like us, right, like other news outlets to talk about, like, oh, what did Phil just post? Like, what is that? And I mean, it's smart. It's marketing 101, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's what he's creating hype, and we're talking about it, so we're helping with the hype. So,
and the fact that Microsoft tweets as well, you know, kind of just being cheeky a little bit and just saying like, yeah, you know, Phil Spencer, like, you're, you know, what did we tell you about doing this? Like, it's just like a no-brainer in my opinion. The fact that Microsoft responded, I feel like it just kind of gives you more of a reason to believe that this is in fact, something,
Yeah, 100%. And then I love how he has the Logitech's gaming system,
Yeah,
the cloud
yeah.
system too, just showing there. I'm like, he's really doubling down on this cloud stuff there. It even
That's
has
the future.
It is. It really is. I mean, we can't get away from it. Everything's going to be cloud based, and I like I said, I'm here for it. It's nice to not have to like download oodles of memory because memory is expensive now, right? Like to get like, and games are becoming bigger. So.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it leads you to the problem though that we'll eventually get at some point where system for some reason is down. Like Xbox is down completely. There's no way you can play your games. Like if we're going to a world of just complete 100% streaming, that is the potential issue that we can see in the future.
Well, they kind of have an issue like that right now, like with Overwatch. Overwatch had a big issue trying to get in. Blizzard, when it comes to World of Warcraft, even League of Legends, anything that has like big servers, right? There's always sometimes like a line to get in, like a queue you have to wait into. So it's possible that if their servers become overloaded with these things, that is a future as part of it. But let's hope it's not.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it's a Xbox prototype cloud gaming thing. I don't know
When do you think we'll see it? I don't know. I don't think we have a name for it either. So
I'm going to say April. April.
Okay.
April's like a good month. It's too close to like November. Like it's not going to be out for holiday or anything like that. It'll be like maybe at the Consumer Electronics Show, maybe January. It'll show it. So we'll see next year, 100%. All right. Well, that's enough about Xbox and Phil Spencer. I don't know why it's in a British accent.
Xbox. I have a terrible British accent.
Give me your best British accent. Sir.
I don't have one.
Come on.
Hello, mate.
That's Australia.
That's Australia.
All right. So give me your best bottle of water in a British accent.
Bottle of water. No, I'm sorry.
You sounded like let's Arabian or something.
How would you say it?
Ball water.
Ball water. Hey, mate. No.
Ball water. I can't.
Hey,
I can't
mate.
say.
What? Okay, come on. I don't know.
We're done. Cut off. Next thing. Persona 3, Persona 4 have release dates for the new consoles are going to be joining. Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden are going to be arriving in modern platforms January 19th, 2023. So got to wait a little bit. But Persona 5 Royale is going to be on Game Pass October 21st.
Nice.
Which is awesome. That's going to be released for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, and is included in Game Pass for PC and console. So this is pretty awesome, being Persona fans. If you're not Persona fans, you probably don't give a shit that much, right? But if you are, this is actually a good question for you, Kelv. Mm-hmm. You've played these games already, right?
For the most part.
Minus three. I don't think you've played 3.
I've dabbled with 3, but no.
Are you excited for these games to come back, and are you going to play them?
If you talk to like 20-year-old Kelvin, yes. You know what I mean? Like if I was 20 years old and I was living at my mom's house, yes, 100%. The fact that these games are obnoxiously like 100+ hours long, it is hard for me to go back and just be like, yeah, I'm going to stop everything I'm doing and play Persona 4. I'm going to stop everything I'm doing and playing Persona 5. I just can't see that happening unless I have a real good reason to like really double down and play those games. I think the closest game that I would probably pick up is Persona 3, honestly, because I've never touched that game. I've touched, again, I played a little bit of it, but not enough to like really like deep dive, get my hands on it and actually get a good amount of like, reason as to like how this game plays. So I think the short answer, I don't think I'd play Persona 4 Golden because I played that, I think, like a good amount of time. Like I beat the game, I'm good. Like I kind of still vividly remember the story, so I'm okay. Even Persona 5, I could probably dabble back into that because I do want to try Royal and just kind of see the changes that they've made because I played the vanilla version. But I don't know if I would really do it. I just feel like I can't commit to the time. I think the only one that I would probably do would be Persona 3. Honestly, sorry. Thanks. I forgot to add that.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I want to try Persona 5 Royale, right? That's because they do add a lot more shit to the game than the previous one, but it is a ton game. And the fact that I can take it mobile with me, on my Steam
Yeah.
Deck. That makes it so much easier. If it wasn't on the cloud, I would 100% be like, there's no way. There's just no way I'm going to be on my, I can't, you know? But the fact that I can play it portably, which those games you kind of need, like those big, long RPGs, they are perfect in a portable. They just, it's
They
just
100%. And people have been asking for these games, especially Persona 4 Golden on Switch mostly, right? And the fact that we're able to play that game on Switch very soon, it's good. And you know, it's there. If I want to play it, I can pick it up again at any time. It's finally on a handheld portable console, which is what we all wanted, right? I just don't think I would play it right now.
Do you think the portable, ultra portable console is dead now? When I say that in the sense of we have Switch, which is pretty big. I don't have it anywhere near me right now, but Switch is pretty big, right? You can't put it in your pocket. They have the Switch Lite. It's smaller.
Still not enough to put in your pocket.
Right. You got the Steam Deck. That's not like, it's like half portable. Like it's a portable console, but it's like not really portable.
Right.
I'm talking about SPs, DS, things you can fit in your pocket. This is dead now. Are we past that now?
I feel like we're at a moment now where things need to be big. We just like big technology stuff, right? Big things, big phones. Like everyone's into like the big phones. The bigger the phone, the better. Consoles, bigger, like PS5. You've seen that. And then I think over time and in a couple of generations after, I feel like we'll start seeing them kind of shrink a little bit and kind of be a little bit more bite-sized. Come back to that. But I feel like it'll just kind of go in waves. It'll come back. It'll leave. Come back. At this point, I can't tell you. I have no idea how it's going to look like. But I'm okay with the size of, like, say, the Switch. The Switch, I think, is a decent size. I would, obviously, you could put it in your pocket if you take off the controls. But even then, like, people nowadays are wearing some tight jeans. Me, myself included. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly. We're all wearing tight ass jeans. We're not fitting that shit in our pockets.
We can't fit that in our pockets.
We don't got the cargo.
No,
shorts.
we don't. No way. I mean, I'm making my wallet smaller now. You know what I mean? Like my wallet is thin. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I can't see anytime soon that these consoles are going to get any bigger or any smaller at this point. I think they're at a decent size right now.
I could see cloud gaming taking that space. Right. I think.
Sure. Yeah.
I think once they get to a point where they'll have like SP size things that you can take with you, or little flippable things that you can actually that play the AAA games or play these games at a good resolution for you, but still get that small slim factor. Whereas right now we kind of need something that's a little bigger, because phones can play games right now. Like they can play cloud based games, but like people don't really want to play their games and their phones together. Like it's just a weird thing. Like mobile games a weird space.
It's a weird space, but there's definitely a following. There's definitely people that backbone is there for a reason now. You know what I mean?
Right. So I think that we'll see a return with that with cloud-based gaming. Last thing we're going to talk about for the news of the week, guys, is so Google last week killed Stadia. We know that. But they're doubling down on laptops instead. So they're doing cloud gaming laptops. I'm going to pull up an article here, if we can. And it basically, they're partnering with other companies, and they're gaming Chromebooks. All right. This is weird. I think this is just like a weird thing to do when you killed one thing and now you're bringing back this. So Google kills cloud gaming service and announces gaming laptops. Let's get some information. They partnered with Acer, Asus, and Lenovo. Is that how you say that? Lenovo, right?
Lenovo.
Yeah.
Yep, Lenovo.
They're going to be range from 15 to 16 inch screen. And the biggest thing and most important thing to gamers, obviously, is it's going to have RBG keyboards. You need those.
Oh, you gotta have those.
Yeah, you need those, right? Because gamers love that. They will ship with all the different streaming platforms pre-installed with Xbox Game Pass, GeForce Now, Amazon Luna.
Interesting.
Amazon Luna, right? So they're playing nice with everyone. Right?
Yeah.
Lenovo will be about 600. The Acer will be about 650. I have some specs here we can go through real quick if we want. and talk about like which one you actually like the best. And first off, what do you think about this move? They kill off their cloud-based platform, and they're like, all right, you know what? We still want to be in cloud-based gaming, but in a different way. What do you think?
It's Google. Like, I don't know what their motive. I don't know what their strategy is when it comes to this. When it comes to the gaming space, when it comes to the cloud gaming space, it is a very interesting move. Like you said, because they closed down Stadia. Stadia was supposed to be their big heavy hitter, like, cloud base, thing that they kind of like wanted to kind of push in, right? And obviously that didn't come out to fruition. They closed that down, but now they're going back on, in a sense, on their word of like closing down Stadia, and then still going in with the cloud-based gaming, but now with different with Chromebook via Chromebook, but then now with different outlets. So now you're gonna have cloud gaming with Xbox Cloud, GeForce, and then Amazon, which is just weird. Like, I understand that, okay, our cloud-based gaming thing didn't work out, so let's kind of just use somebody else's to see if it works. But the whole thing is just messed up. I just feel like, for me, they should not focus on anything cloud gaming related, and just, I don't know. I don't even know what Google is good at besides, the usual stuff that we know of Google, because I feel like every so often Google is starting something new, making something cool, and then they just drop it because it's not doing well.
You know what they should do with this? Now that I'm reading this and going through this, like, if they're gonna do these Chrome-based laptops, right? They should actually do it with. They should have controllers with them. Like, they should come with controllers, like the Stadia controllers.
So keep the Stadia controllers.
Keep the Stadia controller, use those, and ship them out with these laptops. That's what I think they should do. Sure. Because these are kind of expensive.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's saying it's going around $400 to $800 depending on the processor and all that fun stuff. But like, this one looks pretty cool, right? That looks like a pretty thin laptop, and so does this one. This one has like a little it's a fold one. But I mean, at this point, it's like, do you buy this thing, or do you just put it towards a gaming laptop, like an actual gaming laptop?
Yeah. And this is the thing, like, Google puts in their money in weird places, and then they don't double down on them. So then when it fails, they've wasted all this money, and then you kind of lose hope. The customers lose hope on any product that Google kind of makes, and you're kind of like skeptical, right? You're like, I don't know if this is even something I should even invest in, because is Google gonna just drop this in the blink of an eye if it doesn't sell well?
That's the thing, is like, hardcore gamers want an actual laptop. They don't want to deal with like latency issues. They're not really dealing with cloud-based gaming. That's why they opt for playing on a computer, right? Whereas the person who's playing on the Logitech thing, right? I don't even know what the hell it's called. The fucking Logitech handheld, the cloud-based one, right?
Yeah.
Is like, that's like the mobile gamer who like is just like on the go, wants to play here and there, but it's not really caring about like getting the absolute best frame rate as best as possible. Whereas this thing is kind of in a weird spot.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not for a hardcore gamer, but it's also not for a casual gamer because the price is so expensive.
I don't know, man. I don't see this doing, especially how expensive it is, right? Like you're saying, it just doesn't seem like you said, gamers, like, people, they just want to focus on the gaming aspect to it. They don't like the bells and whistles of like, touch screen and all this. Yeah. Like, they don't care about that stuff. They just want to know that they have a solid performing laptop that plays games well. That's it.
That's all they want. And the fact that like, they're kind of like, they're still trying to be like, well, we could get into this space, because they know it's a hot space right now. They know the cloud-based gaming. They're
trying to get in there again because, they, like you said, they know it's hot.
Yeah. Well, we are done with the news. That's it for the news for the week. Anything you want to add, Kel, before we kind of end this section of the podcast?
No, I think I'm really excited to talk about in-game chat, because I feel like we're gonna really dive into a lot of the stuff that we want to talk about. So I think this is a good time to kind of segue.
Yeah. So For in-game chat, if you guys are new, in-game chat's a segment that me and Kelvin kind of pick any random topic, anything in the gaming industry. It doesn't even need to be in gaming industry; it could be anything, honestly. At this point, it's just for me and Kelvin kind of talk and have a conversation. And if you are, in the comments, you can go ahead and chime in, or live chat, chime in, and we'll talk with you. But this week we're talking about. Apparently, there's a fake Zelda posters that were going out for a Netflix series, right? And we're gonna go a step above that and talk about Nintendo coming out with their own production studio for movies. So this is going to be pretty interesting. I kind of want to tie the two together. So basically, there's stuff circulating around where there's posters of actors in Legend of Zelda costumes and stuff like that, like, photoshopped, and they looked pretty good. They looked actually pretty realistic, and we're going to kind of go through and look at these posters. So I'll go ahead. Oh, you got it already up? Yeah.
Gotcha.
So first off, we have Tom Holland as Link. We have who is that? Yep, Idris Elba as Ganon, and we have what's her name again? Emma Watson. Emma Watson as Zelda. And are these the only 3 posters we have that they showed?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. So first off, this is 100% fake. This is not actually happening, right? There has been a conversation about a Zelda Netflix series coming out, but there's not a ton of information about it yet. Nothing casting wise or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So what do you think of this casting right away from all these people?
First off, casting phenomenal. I think it's really well done. Whoever made this should get an applause or something, because this is,
they should get a job somewhere.
They should get a job somewhere,
yeah.
Or unless they already have a job at doing something like this, because this is really well done. The casting really well done. I can definitely see all 3 of these characters like coming to life with these actors, because Emma Watson, she great actor. She does well. And then having Tom Holland as Link, interesting. Nonetheless, I feel like Tom Holland is kind of like the go-to for everything nowadays, right? But he kind of fits the Link profile. He kind of fits that, scrawny, not scrawny, but like kind of younger, like very baby face looking kind of character, right? And I think Tom Holland can pull Link off very well. As far as Idris Elba, I think spot on for Ganon. I think that looks really good.
Yeah, that looks really
voice
good.
As well. I feel like his voice is gonna really, not that he has a like a voice really, but it'll portray well in the movie scene.
He played like a bad guy. I forget what movies, but he played a couple bad guys in a couple movies. But like even in
Sonic
and Thor, yeah, Knuckles, like he played the Knuckles voice really well. And Thor, he was Andal, and he was just like very like with all the makeup and the eyes and stuff like that, and he did a really good voice there. But I think he's like a very good cast for Ganon. Like if not, I don't know if we could get better.
Right? Yeah, I think they nailed it. Unless they wanted like another person that they always put in is The Rock, which I don't. I think would be terrible. But I'm just saying, like just throwing shit like everywhere where they think he fits. I think this is spot on.
Emma Watson's pretty cool with her being. I could see it. I mean, they could obviously pick someone else, but like she would work.
Yeah,
right.
I wouldn't be mad if that was the actual casting.
Right. Tom Holland, I'm kind of weird about him.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
It's a weird because he's in everyone's mind. He's like everyone. He's like the go-to for everything for some reason.
Yeah, and he already did kind of what's it called?
Drake?
Uncharted, and I'm like, stay away from games for a little bit. You got to take a little bit of a break. Take a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
So, they were saying Tom Hiddleston as Gandalf, and I'm like, no.
Again, I think this is a good out of the 3 here, Gandalf is probably like I would fight for him to be as Gandalf.
Yeah, everyone is saying that like Link should be Tom Holland. Like that's pretty much.
I don't think he'd do a bad job. I think he would actually do a pretty solid job as Link. I just think the whole thing of like him being in every single movie is just kind of played out at this point. But again, he does a decent job. I don't think he was great as Drake. I mean, he was fine, but I think the movie itself was just bad in general. But if they can pull this off as a Zelda movie or a Zelda show, I think it could work.
Here's my thing. I'm kind of like on a Reddit post right now. I'm going through comments and I'm saying like, who would play Link? And they're like, with Tom Holland. And everyone's like, not Tom Holland, not Tom. But no one's giving who
Anybody
else?
else.
Anybody else? So that tells me, I'm like, that's pretty. If that's like what people are jumping to,
Right.
Tom Holland might be a Link. He just doesn't talk. You know, you don't have to tell him to talk. It's a pretty easy acting career of his life.
So I think this would be a good time to segue into the other portion of this conversation.
Yes,
when
sir.
you mentioned the talking part, we've talked about this before. We've had discussions about, oh, what if Nintendo made a Zelda movie, and how would that work if Zelda, Link, nobody talks in that game? Like, how would that be portrayed in a scene, in like an actual movie scene? Going back to it, we just recently had the Mario trailer, right? Super Mario Bros. Trailer.
Yep.
There's no dialogue in Super Mario's, right? In the Super Mario Bros. And not enough, right? Like, Mario doesn't really talk. He says a few cute words here and there, right? But he doesn't have a full-fledged dialogue scene in any of the games. So in this movie that's coming out, he seems to be, right, having full-fledged dialogue. I think Nintendo can break that barrier, and actually, maybe this might change my mind. Maybe Zelda can, or I'm sorry, Link can have an actual, like, voice in this, you know? And will it be pulled off correctly?
Listen to me carefully here. If what's his name? What the fuck is his name? Chris Pratt
Oh, okay.
can get a pass for being Mario. Again, a character that doesn't really ever talk. And they're just like, okay, nope, this character you never heard talk for like 20 years, never had like a full, complete sentence. This is the guy who's actually sounding him. I think anything goes at that point.
I agree. I
think anything goes. You could give Samus a voice. You could give Link a voice. You could give Kirby a voice. I want Kirby to sound like... I want to have like a really deep voice. I don't know why. It'd be hilarious. Like, what up, bros? Trying to suck people up.
I think we're onto something. I mean, you can go ahead and start talking about the whole Nintendo acquisition part of the animation studio, but we're onto something here, you know?
Yeah, so essentially, Nintendo announced October 3rd, there was an article here from Video Games Chronicle. Nintendo has launched the official website for its new animation studio, Nintendo Pictures. So if we want to go ahead and pull that up, we can kind of take a look at that website too. The company announced in July that it planned to acquire the CG company Dynamo Pictures with the intention of being acquired 100% of its outstanding shares, yada, yada, yada. Basically, it wants to be in this, it kind of wants to be a Marvel in a sense, but of like video games. Nintendo quoted here, it said, "We will continue to take on the challenge of providing unique and surprising images to customers around the world, transcending generations and eras." So they are on to something here.
Yeah. I think this is the piece that we needed to really fully dive into this conversation, right? Because now that we see Nintendo going at it with the studio production, right? They've purchased this studio now. They've purchased Dynamo Pictures, and the intent of continuing making movies like Super Mario Bros. So they know, they have a plan already. They have a plan of how they're going to do this. So I think this is going to be the start of potential movies that we're talking about right now, like Zelda, right? We're talking about Zelda being a potential movie in the future. We know Super Mario Bros. Is coming out sometime next year. Donkey Kong, I think, is hinted or confirmed or in the talks of a movie, like a solo movie themselves, right? And Donkey Kong is played as... Who's playing Donkey Kong in the Super Mario Bros.
Who's playing
movie?
Donkey Kong? It's not Keenan.
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen, yeah.
And so you have these building blocks that are starting to come into fruition. To me, I think Nintendo is in a sweet, perfect spot here because they have the games to do it. And if Super Mario Bros. Is going to sell, if it does well, from what it looks like, the trailer, it looks like it's going to do really well, then I can definitely see them making the Samus movie, right? The Metroid Prime movie that we mentioned earlier in the last episode or so, that could actually come to fruition. You know, we can see a Donkey Kong movie like we talked about. Like, those things can start coming into play. Like, we've already seen Sonic come into play and it actually works. We've already seen
Detective Pikachu,
right? Like, those those work. They actually work in a movie setting, in a cinematic setting, and I think Nintendo is in the works of actually making that happen.
Now that I think about it, like the whole giving someone a voice, like Link being the voice, it's like Mario didn't have a voice,
Right.
Pikachu didn't have a voice, and look at them now, they have voices. So it's like, what makes Link that much different where like he can't have a voice? Because they were silent in their games too. You know what I mean? For the most part.
At first that was my only drawback. I'm like, how is this gonna work? It has to be a really full-fledged like cinematic scene of like just like emotional scenes, because you can't really tell, for example, Samus, you can't see her face because she has a helmet on. How are you gonna see or talk or have that person communicate or talk in a movie setting? But what Super Mario Bros is telling us is that we don't need that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to kind of really go hand to hand with the games, you know. So I can see this happening. So now my question to you is, Rob, who or what movie would you like Nintendo to have start making for, like, after Super Mario Bros is done? What would you like them to do next?
So I think if we get a Kirby movie, that's going to start up the whole Super Smash Brothers talk 100%. Like, he's kind of like the main protagonist of Smash, like at least with the story in Smash, like the World of Light, he's kind of always been like the one that's always like left behind.
Sure.
So I think it would be, we see that's when we know Smash movie's coming out 100%. But based on what's happening, this is what people want. They obviously are getting, people are getting hyped for it, right? Like they're like, we want a Smash movie. Like this needs to be a thing, and it's been done before with Marvel. So why not do it with this? And the Smash movie doesn't need to be huge. It doesn't need to have all 86 characters in Smash. It'd be cool, right? But it doesn't need to have. It could just start with the first 8, right? We can have Samus, Kirby, Captain Falcon, Mario. You know, all the main guys. I would be okay with that.
Right.
But if you're asking for a movie, I would love to see a Star Fox movie.
Yes.
I think it'd be really cool.
Yep.
I think that'd be really cool to see him on the big screen. I think he has a fleshed out story. The action sequences are cool. It's in space. You know, you're in the R-Wing. It's basically like freaking Star Wars in a sense, you know?
I would like them to even a little bit more on that, just kind of branch out and do more of the Star Fox Adventures kind of scene, right? Where you're kind of like in this dino-centric world, and you're exploring that world in that sense with the characters that they've had in that game. I felt like those characters there were very fleshed out. They were very different. They were very like just, you know, something that you've never really seen before in the Star Fox world. And I think they could kind of touch upon those characters and actually, you know, flesh them out a little bit more, you know.
I gotta play that game again. That game is incredible. I'm gonna download that game. That game's fucking amazing. I love Star Wars Adventures. It's so good.
I would love to see them start kind of slower. I think the Kirby movie would be kind of spot on, and I think I agree. That would be really cool to see a Kirby movie to then kind of have a potential Super Smash Brothers movie in the end, kind of like Marvel with like the Phase 1, Phase 2, and all that stuff. But for me, I would kind of like to see a Yoshi movie. I think that would be my
We might see him in the movie. We might see him
in the movie. I actually, honestly, guys, I recommend. I just finished listening to Chazzy's episode of the Super Mario Bros, where he like really goes deep down and like breaks down the poster. He actually watches the video with you guys, the trailer, and he kind of breaks down each snippet of what he saw. And he's a very huge like Super Smash Brothers fan, or Super Mario Bros fan. So he kind of like, you know, just kind of goes into all that conversation. So I definitely recommend you check that out. His latest episode, where he talks about like everything that was in that poster. And in that poster, you see a Yoshi egg kind of displayed on the far left. And there's no talks about Yoshi in this movie coming out. But I can't imagine him not being in this, you know?
Yeah.
And so for him to have his own fleshed out movie, I can imagine having kind of like Yoshi's World, right?
Yeah.
That game, I love that game till like I would rave about that game every single time, because that game was great in the Nintendo 64. Just having different colored Yoshis and
Yoshi's Story.
Yoshi's Story, sorry, Yoshi's Story, and just having like little fun banters between each Yoshis. And I don't even know what the world or what the story would be like. I feel like it would be more of like a kiddish, like a child's show more than anything, right?
Yeah.
But I think it'd be fun to see. It'd be fun to watch, especially with Illumination Studios, kind of like really bringing those characters to life, like how they're doing with Super Smash Bros. Right now. I think it'd be fun to see.
All I know is that if I'm watching a Mario movie and there's a credit scene, and I see a little envelope, I'm like, let's go. That will break the internet. That would legit break the internet.
Well, this is the thing. How will a Super Smash Brothers movie come about? What would the story really be? Would it be you getting an invitation to what? I feel like if anything, it'd be more touching on the World of Light situation, right?
Where like all these worlds are connected to each other somehow.
Somehow they just they get into each other's universe, and now they're trying to stop this like World of Light, monster that's trying to like destroy their worlds. I can see that happening,
Yeah, but then like how do they like if it's called Super Smash Brothers, don't they like fight each other and stuff like that? So it's like one of those things where you're not getting invited to a tournament. So maybe you're right. Maybe it's not the letter. Maybe the letter is more exclusively for the video game. Like you're invited to come to the game.
Right.
But in the actual movie sense, it should be they kind of get like all of a sudden there's like rifts happening, like little time rifts, and then all of a sudden Samus is like attacking Mario. And Mario's like, "What the fuck is this bitch doing?" Like, you know what I mean? Whoa, what was shit? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and they
just talking and shit.
Right, and then they get divided. Like, maybe Samus, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, and Fox are like on one side, and then Mario, Luigi, who else? Give me another Smash character. Captain Falcon, Kirby are all on one other side, and they're like, no, we think you're, you know what I mean? So it's like there's so many ways they could go about doing this, and I think it's like the next big thing. I think it's been talked about too much for it not to happen. This happened exactly with Sora too. Remember we were talking about like Sora being smashed, and we're like, go 6 years before. We're like, it's not happening. There's no way it's gonna happen. And then what happened? It happened. Like
it happened. It can. Nintendo has the catalog of games to make this happen, and I mean, I honestly don't think Smash Brothers. We won't see Smash Brothers for a very long time if that is something that they're trying to lead up to. I think this would have to be a very slow process of like getting you familiar with a lot of these characters, right? Like again, we haven't even touched on a lot of Nintendo games that they own, right? Like we talked about Kirby, we talked about Star Fox, but what about like F-Zero, right? We talked about that. Like I don't think we've ever talked about F-Zero.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. That's
Captain Falcon,
Yeah.
Like that would be a different take on a Nintendo show, a Nintendo movie, whatever they want it to be. And that's another thing. I don't think it'd have to be a movie. It could be a show. It could be like a Netflix series, but it can still tie into whatever they're trying to build in the long run. I think a Metroid movie would be really cool, but I think the most fleshed out movie would either be like a Star Fox, right? Because those characters have a deeper lore, and the story itself has a deeper lore than most Nintendo characters or games. And Zelda. Again, Zelda has a plethora of games that you can just pick and choose from, right? And each one has either a very like ambiance of like a very dark theme or a very like light theme, like very different type of themes, and you can kind of play with that. You can make different series, different types of movies of the Zelda's worlds, right? And just kind of build upon that. Like there's so many things that they can do that I feel like the Super Smash Brothers movie will have to be slowly built, kind of like MCU, right? With how all these characters have their own standalone movies, and then they lead up to one big finale at the end.
Yeah, I think people are getting kind of like, I don't want to say sick of Disney, because no one will get sick of Disney, but like with the animation and stuff like that, I think there's time for a new player to come in town, and I would love, because what's going to happen to Nintendo is with Disney, yes, you get mom, dad, and the kids watching, right?
Sure.
You get them tuning in to watch the movies like Coco Melon and all that shit, and fucking, what's the, you're welcome. Melon. I don't know why I picked Coco Melon. That's the first thing that popped up in my head.
That's just funny.
Moana, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas now, the adults are just as invested in the kids and watching this movie, right? Like, there's a Star Fox movie. You're like, all right, little Johnny, or like Mavericks, and sort of let's go watch a Star Fox movie. Whereas like, it's for them, it's a kids movie in a sense, but you're like, it's more for you too. You're like, oh, let's go.
This is 100% for us more. You know what I mean? But
that's what I'm saying though. It's for the kids as well. Like they open that new generation to these franchises because there's kids hasn't played Star Fox. Kids haven't played a Kirby game. You know what I mean? So I think that's a huge game changer when it comes to the movies animation for this things and kind of kicking Disney a little bit like, hey, we're an animation studio too now. So
I think this is a very smart move on their end, and I'm hopeful to see games like Pinkman, and just obscure games that I don't even typically play, but just to see them on the big screen or even on Netflix or on the shows, I feel like that would be really cool and maybe get me into playing those games. If I see a Pinkman movie or a Pinkman show and I'm like, the characters look kind of cool. Olimar, it looks kind of interesting in this. Like he has like a deep character for some reason in the show. Maybe I want to pick it out and try it and play. They can do a lot with this.
Exactly, and especially if it's like funny, right? It's like funny, you're into it, like you're gonna laugh and like, oh, I might check this out. So, I think it's all good stuff. This is fantastic moves, and Mario's opening that gate right now, which is just great.
I was just gonna say Mario has opened my eyes to believing in Nintendo and being like, okay, this trailer already sold me. Again, there's little things that I kind of maybe might question on the trailer as far as like Chris Pratt. Again, I think that's everybody's like skepticism.
It's a minute 30-second long trailer too. You can't
exactly.
But one thing I'll say before we head out is after every single one of these Nintendo owned movies, right? Like I know for a fact when we were in a theater with Detective Pikachu, it's like, is there going to be a Super Smash Brothers like end scene? Like, is there going to be a post-credits credit scene? Same with Sonic. Like deep down inside, you're like, let this happen. Let this be true. Let this be a thing. And then going into Mario, I don't think it's going to happen, but like a part of me is like a little kid. I'm like, come on.
Just give me a little tiny hint.
Give me a tiny, give me a symbol, give me something. Just, I don't care. You know what I mean?
Even if it's like Mario, like at the very end, post scene, right? Mario is just doing Mario things. I don't know, kicking a mushroom or something, whatever he's doing, right? And all of a sudden, he sees a crack in the space. Like there's like a crack in the sky or something. That's it. You're like, what the fuck is that? 100% people are going to think it's Super Smash Bros., right? Like if you see like a crack or something, it's like trying to blend into other worlds or something. It's like breaking into different universes. Like that's going to be mind-blowing if they do something like that. Just a small little thing like that where like there's a crack, something's happening and there's like a shift in the universe. He feels it or something and he's like, what the fuck? He doesn't say that. But
yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah. But there's like an item that drops out of nowhere, like that's not from his world. Something like again, paying homage to the items in Super Smash Brothers, like
right.
And he's like, "What the fuck is this thing? Like, this is weird." And then again, or he could like be going down the tube, and as he's going down the tube, he notices something like weird. He saw something like weird, and then he goes back up, and then he didn't see it, but he definitely saw it. Like something like. There's so many ways. Again, there's
so many ways, man. But if they want to really play with us, they can do anything they want, and it's going to be crazy fan service. But again, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon because this is the start of Nintendo's career in a sense in the movie business, and so for them to like really throw that out there right now, I feel like it's kind of like just a little premature.
It's a little hard, to put all their eggs kind of like, all right, you know what's happening, whereas they kind of like want to test and be like, is this going to be received well? I mean, I would think so because they have a fucking banger of a cast, so they're already putting all the money out. So I
think Nintendo, to leave it at that, this is the last thing I'll say. Nintendo has sold me already with the Super Mario trailer because not because of the casting, although the casting is very helpful, it is very promising. I think what we saw was the comedic side of things that reminds me of movies like Shrek, reminds me of like those type of movies, like Pixar movies that give you that sense of humor that you can only kind of pick out if you're an adult, but maybe as a child you won't really get, but it's still kind of humorous in that sense. You know what I mean? Like Shrek did that really well, where like they do things that like you would understand as an adult, but as a kid, you're like, haha, I don't get it, but whatever, everyone's laughing type of thing. And I think they nailed it with the trailer. They
did. And we're going to get another trailer soon. So I can't wait for that trailer. And can't wait to see the movie. We're definitely going to go see it. I don't care. We're going to go see it. I don't care. So, sure. Guys, that is the end of the Gaming Duo podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you can, just go ahead and social on Spotify, Apple Music, or whatever you listen to your podcast. Give us a 5-star rating if you can. If you don't give us a 1-star, like message us and be like, "Yo, I fucking hate
You guys suck.
Yeah, you guys don't know.
Tell us to
shit.
our face.
Tell us to our face before you do that, and then
we'll.
we'll fix it and we'll make it feel better, whatever. But yeah, if you do a 5-star rating, it'd be great. And then on YouTube, if you guys want to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel for updates when we do. Again, we try to do it every week. We are trying to possibly get into a little bit of streaming here, especially with Warzone coming out, because that's kind of like me and Kelvin's bread and butter right now. It's like that's where we like really shine. So I'm excited for that. And that's all I really got right now. Kelvin, anything else before we head out?
Yeah. Just want to talk to you guys like real quick. It's hard for us to really do everything that we want to do in this podcast, right? Because we are not your average podcaster, right? Where we don't have we have full-time jobs, right? Is what I'm trying to say. We have a lot on our plate. I have 2 kids. Rob has a lot on his plate as well. So for us to when we say we will do things, it doesn't necessarily say, yeah, we're going to definitely do it, but we're playing with the idea of doing those things. And I just want to stress that we want to do so many things with the podcast. It's just really hard for us to commit to those things because of life, right? And I just hope you guys understand that. I hope you guys don't think of we're lying to you guys or anything like that. If it doesn't happen, just make sure that you understand that we're trying. We want to make it as much as possible, but if we don't do it, we can't because, life.
Exactly. That's all it is. And at the end of the day, we mostly do it for the audience, right? At the end of the day, so we do it for us. Don't get me wrong, it's just fun for us to do and stuff like that. But we do it a lot for the community that we're trying to build and stuff like that. So, like Evan said, we try. We try, and hopefully, fun things are coming on the horizon. Again, if anything, there will just be pleasant surprises. And thank you for the continued support. So,
thank you. Yes, thank you.
All right, adios. We'll catch you guys soon. Take care and be safe.
See you guys.